Hey everyone, welcome to episode 7 of the hip dysplasia tutorials. I hope all of you are really enjoying everything that you're learning, and I'm really interested to know how you're getting on with all the exercises. We've got a short tutorial today. We are going to just quickly do a recap and just talk about what we spoke about last week. We chatted about supplements, and I showed you 2 exercises, the leg lifts and the doggy sit-ups. So if you didn't watch last week's tutorial, please scroll down on the Facebook page and you'll be able to find all of the last 6 tutorials. Otherwise, subscribe to the link above, and then you'll be able to get access to the recordings if you do miss the Facebook tutorials at 12:30 on a Wednesday. All right, so today we're going to be talking about beds. This is something that I always recommend to my clients that have patients suffering from hip dysplasia, because hip dysplasia dogs often have other secondary compensatory discomfort and pain, and especially in their backs. And this is because of the way that they compensate. It's because they overuse their backs and underuse their back legs when they're moving, and they shift their weight onto the front. So they get a lot of compensatory back pain, and this is something that we really need to be aware of and we need to manage. And there's certain beds that are a lot better for backs than other beds. So these are beds which I do not recommend. I don't like round beds for hip dysplasia cases. Often they are sort of curl themselves up into this little ball. It's often not easy for them to be able to stretch out. They are confined by the space that they're in. And if you had to think about yourself, if you're sleeping on a bed, if you can't stretch out and move exactly how you want to, then you're not that comfortable, and you often end up with a stiff neck or some area which is uncomfortable because you haven't been able to lie in a free and comfortable way. It's a little bit like going on an airplane. The discomfort that you have, you're not used to lying in that way. You want to be able to stretch out, and this is what I feel for these dogs. They also really need to be able to stretch and be able to lie in whatever way is comfortable for them, and not being restricted by the confines of the bed that they have. If you have a look at this bed on the left, you can see this looks really nice and soft and comfortable, but it's because it's so soft like this dog's not able to easily turn around. So the dog will be lying like this, and when they are in this position for long periods of time, then this contributes to their stiffness. You also want to make sure that whatever bed you have, that it's the right size for your dog. You can see this dog now is completely hanging out of the bed, and this is also going to make it uncomfortable and not be great for, especially if they have muscle tightness and muscle tension. You want to also make sure that it's easier for them to get in and out of the bed. And this is one of the things I don't like about these beds that have sides, is that they have to lift their legs over it. They could trip when trying to get in and out of the bed. We know that they don't have great hind limb muscle strength, and this can make it harder for them. So these are the type of beds that I would recommend. This is the type of bed that Sunshine has. In South Africa, it's a brand called a Hound Sleeper, and I really like this bed. The fact that it's lifted off the ground, especially in areas that are very cold, so the coldness won't come through the mattress. And if you've ever gone camping before, even if you have one of these blow-up mattresses or you have a mattress, you know how cold it is through the floor. So you're lying on the floor, and it's wherever you're camping, and you can feel this coldness coming through from the floor. And that's why I like this bed, that it's raised above the floor. So we eliminate that, and especially dogs that are a little bit arthritic and have joint pain, we know that when they do get cold, this worsens their stiffness. I also like the fact that there's no compressive forces on any of the bony areas of the body and on the joints, because a mattress or foam type of bed, what will happen is that foam will compress, and then eventually the force from the floor will obviously be put through onto the pet. And I think that this is a lot more forgiving on bony prominences, and especially on the hips when the dog is lying on their side. I actually have a small thin mattress that just goes on top of the Hound Sleeper to make it a little bit more comfortable for Sunshine. But if Sunshine's not running around, I can tell you where she is. She'll be lying on her bed. She absolutely loves it. If you don't have access to one of these high raised off the floor type beds, then the next best one would be one of these sort of square or rectangular type of beds. I like the foam to be quite firm, yet still comfortable. So you don't want it hard, but you don't want it so soft that it's difficult for them to get out of. The softer it is, when they stand on it, it's very unstable for them. And a bit like when we're doing our exercises and we're doing them on foam, the softer it is, the harder it is and the thicker the foam. And we often think, oh, we want these nice, big, thick, soft beds. But remember, they have to stand on these beds to get off them. And in doing this, it's very, very difficult for them. And sometimes dogs, just because of that, will just end up lying on the floor. And pet owners will think that they are lying on the floor because that's what they choose. But it might just be that it's just too difficult to get on and off their bed. Also, what I want you to do is to make sure that wherever your dog's bed is that there is a non-slip surface around their bed. So if you have wooden or tiled floors, you can put a rubber mat and put the bed on top of it. But the first few steps that they have are usually the most difficult steps, and they can be a bit stiff. And what we don't want is for them to slip and hurt themselves then. So just around the mat, you can put something like some rubber matting. Another thing that I really like about these raised beds is that it's easier for them to get on and off because they are not so close to the ground. So a little bit like that assisted sit-to-stand exercise that we did. If we can increase the height from which they have to stand up, it's a lot easier for them. So let's look at this week's exercises. The first one we're going to do is the sit to stand exercise. Now in the previous weeks we did the assisted sit to stand. Today we're going to be doing the sit to stand. So now we're going to be getting our dogs to sit on the floor and not on our knees. What's really important is that they sit with their legs directly underneath them, and you're going to get them to sit and stand. If they need to take a few steps forward, that's also fine. You can use a little treat to get them to sit, and you see this dog's got his legs nicely underneath him. So when he stands up, he's using both of those legs, and this is a really, really good exercise to build muscle strength in the hind limbs, really activating all those extensor muscles and the very important muscles that we need to help support the hip, so dynamic support for the hip. The next exercise is what we call on and off the pavement. Now you can do this when you go for any of your walks. It's a really, really easy exercise, but it challenges your dog. So as you're walking, you want them to step on and off the pavement. It's challenging all different muscles in the body. It's challenging balance. It's challenging proprioception. So really, really, really great exercise that you can do on your walks. Every single time you go for a walk, choose an area that's safe where you'll be able to pop on and off the pavements. All right, so next week we're going to chat about environmental impact. So these are all the things in the environment that you need to look out for that could be worsening your pet's hip dysplasia. So making things harder for your pets. We're going to talk about different things in your houses, different places that you're walking, things to look out for, just to make things a lot easier for your pet. And then we'll also go on to the next week's exercises. So I'll see you all next week, same time, same place, where we'll be doing week 8. I've got a really exciting webinar coming next week, which is actually perfect for all of you because it is on canine hip dysplasia. It'll be lectured by Dr. Tanya Grantham, who's a colleague of mine. She has rehab clinics up in Johannesburg in South Africa, and her clinic is called the Animal Health and Hydro. She treats loads of dogs with hip dysplasia, and she's going to share her knowledge on how to manage hip dysplasia for improved long-term results. So we're really looking forward to that. Any of you like to register, just go to drmegankelly.com. Please leave all your comments if you have any questions below, and please share this with any of your friends who've got pets that are suffering from hip dysplasia. I'd really appreciate it. Have an awesome day. Chat soon. Bye-bye.